Heretic is the newest film starring Hugh Grant, Chloe East and Sophie Thatcher, and is about two Mormon girls who are on a mission when they knock on Hugh Grant's door and some crazy shenanigans ensue. This was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I think Hugh Grant is definitely the reason. You look at the trailer and you're instantly just hooked by his performance, which carries over to the film itself. I just wish the film around him was a little tighter. Let me dive in. I do want to start by talking about that Hugh Grant performance, which I did mention. A performance which is just so goofy, and also just, you can tell that he's having such a fun time with what he's given. He sings Radiohead's Creep, he also does a Jar Jar Binks impression, he also said Lana Del Rey. 3 words I never expected to come out of his mouth. I also really liked the girls. I think Chloe East and Sophie Thatcher did a great job also with what they're given. The production design is also really stellar. I think there's some pretty interesting clues if you look in the backgrounds of everything. But I do want to talk about what the film itself is talking about, that being its stance on religion. So the whole idea of the film is Hugh Grant tracks down these Mormons and gives them a moral compass of faith versus their own morals, and also the belief system that they put themselves under. And I think it's more of an interesting conversation starter than it is an adaptation of said subject, because I look at it and I'm instantly just like, okay, what are we getting from this? Like, what are we getting? The film left me with more questions than it did answers, but at the same time there is, again, like an interesting moral question that the film likes to divulge into. The whole idea of Mormonism being a branch of Christianity, and Hugh Grant questioning whether that's a true religion and what the real religion is. Very interesting to think about. And in that way, I think that the film is doing some good. But where it goes wrong for me is the way that it decides to talk about it. It just doesn't dive into the subject with as much gravitas as you would think for a film which is marketed in this way. The obsession with power and the power dynamics that Hugh Grant has over these girls is interesting in theory, but when your character is extremely disconnected from the said subject and religion of which he is trying to divulge into, there is no real moral compass that the film wants to give you, which is where I found myself disconnecting from the overall storylines. Not to mention that the film itself starts off really great. I think the first 45 minutes are actually some of the best filmmaking of the year. Some of the best dialogue I've heard in the year, especially from Hugh Grant's performance. But then it divulges into this big spectacle of which you kind of expect from this kind of film. It basically turns into a trope fest of which we are very much used to with the genre of thriller and horror. And it decides to mention prophets and reincarnation and all that shit, which is a bit of an issue for a film which is marketed as this sort of thought-provoking theatre piece. I'm kind of just like over the horror tropes of which it did kind of go into. I'm not going to go into the whole religion thing too much because that's just a can of worms of which I don't feel comfortable opening. But as somebody who did study religion for a little while, I think that there is an interesting conversation started to be had here. But I just wish the film went into it a little bit deeper and a lot less tropey. I still think that the film succeeds in a lot of ways, but it also left me just feeling cold by the end, and that's a bit of an issue. Hugh Grant is excellent. I'm glad he's getting as much acclaim as he is. He also does a Love Actually line. I forgot about that one. One of the more thought-provoking films of the year, whether or not it succeeds with everything that it's going for. And hey, that's what I gotta say about Heretic. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me down below what you want to see from me next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.